A good leader has to encourage innovation, but sometimes that's not quite so easy. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Andy McCaskey from SDR News, and welcome to 10 Tenets of Leadership, introducing the host of the show, Larry Pendergrass.
Hi, Andy.
I tell you, we have such an interesting episode here today because if there's one topic that's probably received more recent management print, it's got to be surrounding innovation. Why are people so fascinated with that?
Well, Andy, I think innovation is critical no matter what your business is. Business innovation, product innovation, market innovation, all kinds of innovation are necessary. And you may focus on one kind of innovation more than another, depending on what your particular business is. But you need to be enable people to be those trailblazers that we expect. This particular tenet is about creating the right environment so that you can get the best out of your people in terms of innovation. If you truly want an innovative atmosphere, then you need to create an atmosphere of no fear. One of the biggest enemies of innovation is the fear of retribution in case somebody tries to stretch too far and fails. So the focus needs to be on rewarding for judgment rather than the kinds of easy metrics to quantify. So a good example is I ask somebody to go out and invent something or other that's never been done before, and we don't know how you're going to do it, but you have to have it by March, and if you don't get it by March, then your job's in jeopardy. You don't get a creative output that way. What you'll get is incrementalism at best. So you need to create an environment of no fear and focus on diversity, which we'll talk about.
Well, all of us being to one degree or another greedy profit maximizers, capitalists and so forth, what about just giving bonuses for innovation?
Yeah, this has been suggested on a number of times. In fact, I've thought about it myself as a head of a research and development operation. It turns out that sociologists, economists, and psychologists have studied this quite a bit, and there are basically two kinds of work that you can talk about. You can talk about algorithmic work where you can say step A, step B, step C, and you get a result, or you can talk about cognitive work where it requires some sort of thinking about how you get from point A to point B. I don't have a process for you to follow. Those are two very different kinds of work. And you can read about some of what I'm talking about here from an author, Dan Pink, who describes this very nicely. And he says that these studies have led to the idea that if you're focused on cognitive work, that's what's really going to be the output or the method to get to innovation. In those cases, you need to create an environment of autonomy where people know what they have to do, but they have some freedom in how they do it. Of mastery, where an individual feels like they're growing in their particular chosen art or science, and one of purpose, where people have a good understanding about why they're doing what they're doing. Creating an environment of autonomy, mastery, and purpose are the keys to producing this kind of thing. Now, if you just give people a bonus for doing more work, that works fairly well in the algorithmic work, where it's step A, step B, step C. Pay people more, they go faster. But it doesn't necessarily allow you to create a Mona Lisa if you pay people a whole lot more money to make sure that you produce that creative work.
Yeah. Within an organization, what's the role of diversity, and how does that link with innovation?
Yeah, it's a great topic. Well, innovation can come from very unexpected places, and it's not just from going out and doing customer studies. It's not just from the people who continue to have a history of creating innovative things, and frequently it's not even from the people that are in that given field. Innovation may come from people unencumbered by some of the rules and thoughts that people have had before about a given field. maybe not by those who believe that something can't be done. One of the places where innovation really comes from is bridging the gaps between a couple of different fields. In those crevices, that's sometimes where you'll bring somebody in that's able to pull that together and can create some fantastic innovations. So diversity of different ideas is extremely important in innovation.
What about people within an organization that are, quote, creative and have a reputation for innovation?
Yeah, and certainly there are some people that spend a lot more of their time thinking about out-of-the-box ideas. And I've worked with some, for instance, that were just tremendously brilliant, and 1 out of 10 of their ideas really works out. It's worth mentioning, by the way, if you've got one of those creators, you usually want to marry them up with some other people that might be refiners and implementers to really create a good R&D organization. But it is true that there are some people that tend to think a little bit more broadly, regularly. But don't limit yourself when it comes to thinking that they are the only people that are going to come up with innovations.
Now, because someone who maybe hasn't been spending a tremendous amount of time in that may actually be unhampered by knowledge of what can and can't be done.
That's exactly right. You may have your creator saying, gee, I wish I could do this, but I can't imagine how I can get around this particular problem. The speed of light is constant in the vacuum, and it's never going to change. And somebody else might be unhampered by that issue and actually create something that is a different way of looking at it, where the person who is an expert in the field may have set aside the whole question already.
So now I understand that in your thoughts that you've actually come up with 10 tenets of innovation itself. Can you share just a couple of those?
Yeah, sure, Andy. Yes, I do have a white paper that's available for you. I think that we'll probably show the TechZex website at some point here, that you can get a download of a white paper on the 10 tenets of innovation as well. So a couple of those are, for instance, to fail early and fail often if you want maximum innovation, and also to be careful about position power, because it can certainly be the enemy more than it can be your friend.
Okay. Well, this is, as I mentioned at the beginning, a very fertile area as far as publications and business writing and so forth. What are some of the references that you would recommend on building innovation within an organization?
Well, Andy, I had already talked about Dan Pink's book called Drive, which is a tremendous book on this particular subject. I could also suggest this one as well that I found to be really very interesting. This is the Art of Innovation, and this one is written by Tom Kelly and others. If you're familiar with Tom Kelly, he's actually from IDEO, which has had some great spots on video, actually even on Nightline. There's a great little segment done on IDEO as an R&D organization and how they do it. There's some really great information in this book.
Well, Larry, it's a very, very broad, very interesting topic, building innovation within the organization, but it all comes down to the business purpose, which is winning, and that's going to be our subject next on next week's edition of 10 Tenets of Leadership.